Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. It's me. Uh-huh. I've actually never seen that movie. Anyways. There we go. Alright. What other transitions are there? There's the fade, then you can cut. Oh, that's just like a straight cut. Swipe. Enter the name of the transition. Yeah, we'll call it swipe. Preview. Ooh. Look at that. Wow. Wow. I like that. What's a stinger? Stinger. Preview. Oh no, I can't do that. I don't have anything for that. Remove. I have no idea what that means. What is slide? Wee. Oh, it's like the same thing. Weep, weep. Swipe. Oh, but like, instead of it being on like the same card, it's just another card being placed in front. Or maybe not even in front. Okay. Okay. We can also do one of these and just RIP epileptics. Oh no, I feel like fade is pretty good. So we just kind of fade in, out. Yeah, that's not bad. We can also edit it. So swipe. Or no swiping. Swipe in. How about swipe out? Oh, you know what would be pretty cool? Is if you triggered this from If this was something that like you kind of triggered from the Godot thing, right? OBS WebSocket. I'm pretty sure you could have a handle onto the scene transitions, and then you can just, you know, randomize the scene transition every time you switch scenes. Oh, that would be cool. The production value. That would be neat. Anyways, we're here. Let's get working. So we'll need to make this a lot bigger. So boom, boom. That's what she said, etc., etc. Make that pretty big. Here are the issues. Lip sync support. So we're going to be looking at you lip sync a little bit, not a lot. I'm not too sure how much more you lip sync will be, you know, useful to us. But we'll see, you know. As I've said a million times before, we'll see. We'll see, we'll see. We'll see. Does that count as like an accent? As we'll see? we'll see how this goes. Oh, not this one. Probably the editor. Where are we in terms of the readme? So mic util probably won't do. Is there a way to do strike through, by the way, in Markdown? Let's ping the bot. There we go. Hello, bot. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So Markdown, strike through. Hello, Rogue Knight. Rogue Nation, sorry. Rogue. Sick duck. How is that, actually, and I'm looking at that, how is that duck able to overlap on itself? Or is that just like how the chat is rendered? That's cool. I do technically have open emote slots. Got from a fellow streamer. Nice, nice. So you're cheating on me is what you're saying. Right, strike through. Oh, strike through. Yeah, I do have more emote slots, but I just haven't gotten around to doing it just yet. But eventually, someday. I guess I can also just pay someone to make emotes for me instead of just being cheap and making all my own. Yeah, this is where we're at. We have the important parts of the real-time lip syncing library already implemented, which is neat. So at this point, I just need to test it with actual data, which is the hard parts, right? So most of the important bits of the runtime, which is just the U lip sync and the algorithms, those are all working. Duck Hop Plus is real, duck emotes are viral. Oh, good thing you bought in early. Yeah, with one of these emotes. I guess this one's not available to everybody, but this one's pretty easy to get. I mean, the rubber ducky emote, pretty sick, pretty sick. 10 out of 10. Just rubber duckies in general. It's a very readable form, very easy to recognize. Everybody more or less knows what a rubber duck is. Yeah, let me see. I stopped on Sunday when I was doing this. I don't remember what I was doing though. So I do remember I was running into a bunch of errors when I was running this. So yeah, you can see here 94 errors. Let's see, poison error. my favorite kind of error. Let's see. Thread unnamed panicked at unable to lock job in thread at lip sync RS 62 45 probably. 62. So that's good. 62. Unable to lock job in thread. And so panicked at index out of bounds at profile RS94. Okay, that makes sense, because this is where the thread starts. So the structure of how the real-time lip syncing works, right, is entry points right now is just we have a Godot add-on. My internet is dumb. Agreed. Hello, Rogran. How are you doing? I know that I saw that you were struggling to update to the latest version of Pop OS, or Pop-OS, if you will. Excited Pop-OS. Yeah, I think it's like fix that issue by turning on your VPN. Oh, you know what? Is it because if the VPN fixes your issue, it could be that the server that you're being routed to is just getting hammered for whatever reason. Unless your VPN was just into the same region, right? There's a lot of things that could happen. But yeah, the newest updates drop today, right? So I usually wait like a day or two before I update. Never want to be the first one, but also because, you know, I let everybody else finish hammering the server. Then I'll do all my stuff. So I've ported most of the lip sync stuff. This is the entry points. So we create a new lip sync file, which just uses a compile DLL. So we compile all of this. This is pretty difficult, especially this part. Still running into a lot of null pointers, which is cool. And we just need to call lip sync update at some point in the scene tree. And then also remember to call shutdown to clean it all up. Where cleaning it all up mostly consists of us just stopping this thread here. So we create the lip sync job. You can see new, that kind of matches up. That's kind of handled by the Rust macros, whatever these do. Creates all this, so we create a new lip sync job inside of a atomic reference count, which contains a mutex, which contains a lip sync job. And then we have both of these, job and thread job. So these refer to the same pointer, hopefully. And then we just spin up a thread and then just run as fast as possible. So yeah, I wonder if there's a way to, is there a way to just close the thread? Actually, yeah, that's interesting. Is there a way for me to join the thread just like that? The new kernel coming with this is adding native support for Switch Pro controllers instead of them being seen as just an Xbox controller. My daily controller is seen as a Switch controller. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you could just patch your system yourself if you wanted to get fancy with it. Okay. And isn't it? I suppose you're not super focused on performance. I was gonna say, like, you could try installing. Is it Clear OS? Or is it called Clear Linux? What was Intel's thing? Do you even have an Intel processor? That might not result in speed boost for you now. Thank you about it. Do not trust myself. How scary can it be? Yeah, you break something, all you gotta do is, create a root. As long as you have physical access to the box, your computer is almost never completely bricked. And I suppose as long as you also have access to Google and another computer. What do I use name for here? I feel like, oh, you know what? I'm looking at this profile. I probably messed something up. That's why some things are like breaking pretty heavily. Of an Intel more effort to Ryzen. Okay, well, that's a clear. Is it clear OS or is it clear Linux? Clear Linux, yeah. This might not be it actually. Oh no, never mind. One of these. Yeah, I thought I remembered you weren't running Intel, so this is from Intel, but says that it has optimizations also for AMD, so I don't know. Might be something worth looking into if you want to be running the latest and greatest stuff. I don't usually. I'm boring. I prefer like a really stable base, and then I will rip out to whatever I need to. Let me see. I've messed something up. So add MFCC. This creates a new MFCC data. You know what? That's probably where I messed up. MFCC data doesn't have new implemented for it. Only has default. Why did I do that? Who made this? Why would you do this? Me? How big is the calibration data supposed to be then? So that's the MFCC data counts. Wait a minute. No, this is profile. Hold on. MFCC data. Calibration data is just the VEC F64. Okay. So they've wrapped their own thing. Like, God, this kind of syntax in C# always kind of gets me. It's like they allow for operator overriding, which is weird. I'm not used to that. Or operator overriding in a language that isn't C++. Okay. Oh, these are structs, but this is a new list. Okay, hold on. Yeah, I think this is where I messed up. So, or this is part of where I messed up. So we need to implement a new function. A new function called new. Then this will return MFCC data that consists of, this will take a name input as well, I think. So we can either use defaults, which will bypass this new function, or we can use the new function directly. Name string. So this will be, name is name, would have guessed. MFCC calibration data list. I think this can probably go away, but I'm still not sure what I can or cannot use. Mostly because I'm still hitting like panics. Hard crashing, but on the thread, so it doesn't crash the main thread. So this will be an MFCC calibration data. Or no, this will, hold on. Just the new VEC. It's just an excited VEC, and then this one will also just be an excited VEC. Yeah, native array, VEC. Okay. So, add MFCC. This one will be new name. So now it doesn't have bad defaults anymore. What does that do for me? That's not where I was getting my error. Yeah, I was getting my error here, I think. So, yeah, profile RS94. I've added a few lines, so 94 probably refers to this one. Or this one? I don't know. Let's recompile and see what happens. So recompile. So we'll do cargo build release since I already have a release build. So the incremental compilations after this should be pretty easy. So release DLL. Very nice. Go into here. Just go ahead and delete that. Go back into Godot, have it reload. Alright, no errors. Okay. I think I need to close the thread after it panics. Index out of bounds, the length is 0, but the index is a very high number, which is presumably the highest possible, it's integer, implemented for my processor, which is an AMD something, I don't know, forgot. Hardware is one of the few things I do not care for. Can I do it? Yes. Do I enjoy doing it? No. So if index, it's one of these things. I'm not sure which one though. You want to swap models if you're testing the lip sync? Ducks don't have lips. Oh, see, that's where you're wrong. Actually, what defines a lip? What is the formal definition of a lip? Like, ducks have beaks. Would you consider, like, the edge of the beak, like the duck's lip? It was confusing as heck. Ardor is a free and open source DAW for Linux. Is that correct? I don't know. I usually use, when I'm doing music stuff on Linux, I usually just use LMMS. LMMS, the first DAW I ever learned how to use, and then switched over to FL Studio. Cannot figure it out. Have you tried Googling? I said that like sarcastically, but that is the answer. Reaper install the try. I hear good things about Reaper. I just don't want to learn another thing. I really should learn how to use it though. It has good reviews. Everyone seems to love it. And if I want to plug in, I guess, input from my guitar, I'll need to use that, unfortunately. All right, what does allocate do? So this is add MFCC. Did I just completely, no, hold on. Yeah, no, it's 102. It's get phoneme, not add MFCC. What am I looking at this for? It's get phoneme. Full version for personal use is like $60. 200 for professional, which is nuts. That's not bad. That makes sense, you know? Like, you would just want to make your own stuff, you know? It's going to cost $60. It'll do you a lot more good than playing those darn video games. Oh, it's or. But wait, no. Is less than. What was the error message? No, the index is like really high. I'm confused. What's the stack trace? All right, hold on. Can I set environment variables here? Can you set environment variables in Godot? Godot, set envvar. Look at like Ableton. I hear good things about Ableton. I've never used it. I hear good things about everything pretty much except for FL Studio. Has environment, set environment. Okay, yeah, we can set an environment variable. Neat. I didn't know you could do that. That's really cool. Ableton is great but expensive. Yeah, well, the reason why like a lot of audio software is really expensive is one, I mean the market is cornered, right? Like who else are you going to buy audio software from? But two, like doing audio stuff, like after working through just like this stuff in Rust, I have no idea what the heck. Like, what is this? Look at this. This is just a bunch of numbers. Like this is like what I thought programming was back before I started programming. It's just like, all right, like, yo dog, I heard you like numbers and just things that don't mean anything to me. Like what is an even im? Like I know that these are using like odd and even values, but like what the heck are they actually doing? What is this, right? Like you need to know audio engineering and then also like know how to program. Two things that aren't really super similar, right? Like I feel like audio engineering is like a lot of I don't even know what audio engineering is. Maybe I'm completely off, but like I don't understand what the algorithm is. It's a lot of math, we'll say that. Whereas programming, almost no math. Math is for nerds. This is OS, set environment. So we'll set an environment variable. Rust backtrace, I think it was called. Yeah, Rust backtrace. Rust backtrace. I need to see what the error is. And set it equal to 1. We'll set it equal to 1. Beautiful. So let's see. Get ready to close it really quickly. Ooh, okay, that felt really laggy. Okay, there we go. That looks good. Now we have a backtrace. I own those backtraces. Audio production is make the good noise sound gooder. If only it was that. If only it was that. I don't know. I think whenever I do any audio production, it's pretty much just, yo dog, I heard you like reverb. So I added reverb to your reverb. Nice meme. Yeah, I mean that's actually pretty much what I do, right? Like for any of my inputs in FL Studio, I will pretty much master the inputs and then reverb it afterwards. So I basically master all my inputs twice because that just works for me. I don't know if that's correct or not though. Reverb? I feel like reverb helps cover up a lot of things, which is really nice. Register. Wait a minute. Ooh. Wait a minute. Oh, is it because... Ooh. I think... Oh. Did it it panicked before it even hit... Ah. So it tried to run the job earlier than it should have. Oh, I see. Because is complete defaults to false. So then it tries to run an empty job. Ah. Now he's getting it. Yeah, because I create a default lip sync job. I have a +3. Does a 7 meet the... What is AC? I'm sorry, I've only sat in on D&D sessions. Armor class? I don't know. Look at that. We'll say yes. I don't know. Roll for initiative. Best 2 out of 3. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think this is correct. Let's do this. So we'll do let lsj equal this, and we'll return lsj afterwards. Right. Then lsj. Wait a minute. Ooh. Job is complete. Job. Job. What is job? Thread job. Yeah, lip sync job is complete. Yeah, okay. Is complete equals true. It is already completed. So that should fix it, maybe? I think that doesn't feel like the problem, but that might solve something else beforehand. I don't know, so let's recompile. The hardest part is always having to recompile. It's not something I usually do. What's your problem? This LSJ is not declared as mutable. All right, you are not mutable. Mutatable? AKA a mutant. Let's see. I was gonna say something, but I decided against it because it would have been pretty offensive. Relating to mutants. Or I guess maybe not offensive, but insensitive, perhaps. No! Por qué? I've been on like slight edge all day. Mostly because, alright, so that didn't fix it, but I think this does help. Had a demo for the first time in forever during my day job, my regular job, and whatchamacallit? Everything went wrong. So everything was working yesterday when I tested it, right? You gotta do a dry run of the entire demo the day before, and also the day of, right before it. Everything was working. And then, I don't know, they just did like I'm gonna be honest, I didn't do a dry run the day of, which might have helped. But anyways, everything broke. It was really cool. So like we set up like an entire build system. We set up an entire build system, or I say we, it was me. I set up an entire build system for our like fancy CLI tool, also mostly developed by me. But that stopped working because they made some changes to Artifactory, which is the, you know, enterprise grade artifact storage place. So like that stopped accepting new artifacts for whatever reason. I guess they put it into maintenance mode just like day of, which, you know, by the way, bad for me. And then also the API that we were hitting inside of the build system started throwing just a bunch of errors during the demo, so it only worked about 25% of the time. I ran it 4 times, it only worked once. I was like, well, we'll build in better error handling. And they're like, yeah. Just what a disaster of an entire demo. But you know, whatever. I'm off next week. Not my problem for much longer. Hopefully. Although they are bringing me back, which is a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because, you know, consulting is always nice to have work. You know? It's almost in the same way that you kind of hear like the... I don't know, it's not really the lawyer thing, but it's innocence, guilty, I still get paid. Broken, you know, working, not working, I still get paid. It's not my problem. Index out of bounds. The length is 0, but the index is 0. Ooh? 103? Oh, you know what? I should do this one. Yeah, I did this in the wrong order. Okay. Works 100% of the time. Yeah, exactly. 25% of the time, it works every time. Which is kind of that's kind of how my That's like the success rate of my pickup lines when I was still in school. We go out to the bars, like not expect to get anywhere, but just do it because it's fun or it's funny to see your friends try to pick up girls. A little misogynistic, I guess, but those are different times. Hey, you know what? I think I was about at a, optimistically we'll call it like a 30% success rate. But also, it's a 30% success rate. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Way better than 0. So, basically 1 for 3, which is pretty much like the range of my, like that's like the happy range of me being sober enough to come up with something witty, intoxicated enough to build up the courage to do it. It's pretty good. And at that point, it's just telling people, yeah, exactly, right? Telling people jokes, but also having enough confidence to be like, hey, we're both consenting adults here. Although honestly, the one that I usually went with when we were talking about pickup lines was like, it's pretty lame, saying it almost out of context, but it's like, yeah, hey, I think you dropped something. And then they'd be like, hey, what did I drop? I said, oh, it was your standards. Hey, I'm Tim. And you gotta have the hand motions as well. Otherwise it's kind of awkward. A little self-deprecation, but of course you can't double down on self-deprecation. You can only do it once. Otherwise it starts getting kind of weird, for sure. And also kind of weird for all the people watching you. You know what? That's the old bread and butter. 33% of the time works every time. Didn't I check this? MFCCS length. Hey. Oh, is the name like unimplemented? Is that it? Ooh. Debug. DBG. No. Okay, hold on. So this length should be valid. Like we should... Wait, no. What? Debug. MFCCS length. Just give me this. Like it's saying that the index is out of bounds. The length is 0, but the index is 0. Yeah. Index is 0. Yeah. The length is 0. Yeah. If MFCCS length is 0 or index is greater than our length. Ooh. If your goal is to make it awkward, well, buddy, you've come to the right place. I am great at making it awkward, but I think that's part of the charm. That's part of the charm, is you have someone who is, I know thine own self to be true. I'm at least a 5 out of 10, which is enough confidence for me. At least a 5 out of 10. Pour a little bit of alcohol into the system. You're feeling like at least a 7 out of 10. Probably looking like a 4 out of 10, honestly, though. With the intoxication and all that. But that's okay. We're all intoxicated here. Make it a bit awkward. Some people find it charming. Strangely enough. It's like, oh, it's this dude seems kind of nerdy. That's charming. This dude seems kind of nerdy. Definitely is pretty nerdy. He's also slinging some like pretty good lines, Isn't saying some like absolutely dumb stuff. I mean, probably later on in the night that's probably what's happening. Yeah, okay. So MFCCS length is 0. How are we not... Oh, did I do that? I've got it. got it. Oh? Mismatched types. Ooh. Oh, okay. So if you want to return early, you have to use return. Otherwise, oh god. See, that's why I hate that syntax. But everyone really likes this syntax for some reason. So Rust is a language that uses, you know, if the last line of your function does not end with a semicolon, right? Semicolon's pretty sick. But Rust does a thing. So if the last line of your function does not end with a semicolon, it's assumed that you're returning it, right? But if you want to return earlier, you need to explicitly call return. Now, we have now come to an impasse here where you're combining using return and no return, which just bothers me. I hate that so much. But I get caught on it every single code review. I've been trying to force myself to use the implicit return. But see, that's what was biting me there. Yeah, is I thought I was returning from this line, but actually I just kept, you know, this is an empty statement by itself. You need to actually like explicitly return it. I hate that. I hate this pattern so much. Why can't everything just be like Python or Java? Alright, so that should at least stop. That should stop throwing errors for now. So replace the DLL, give it a run. Still running into a million errors, so that's good. Please don't be the same place. I'll cry. Alright, let's go. So, panicked at capacity overflow. Oh, that's sick. What's the backtrace? So we create a new vector. Okay, so I have no idea what panicked there. That's good though. So let's kill it really quickly, so we don't have to scroll up so far. This is the big backtrace. I think I should also look up how to exit a thread early whenever we, you know, thread panics, aka we crash. But the code just kind of ignores it. So capacity overflow, stack backtrace. So panic handler, panic capacity overflow at low pass filter. Okay. So low pass filter somewhere in here. And then we also started to execute the lip sync job? That doesn't make sense. So the lip sync job is complete. Is true. We call update. Nothing should happen. Wait. Okay. Wait. Update. Schedule a job. Schedule a job will hit me with the false. Okay. No, that makes sense. Yeah. Because we need to call all of these and then call schedule a job in that order. So schedule a job sets this to false, but we want to initialize this as true so we don't accidentally run an empty job. God, that's tough. That's tough. The backtrace says it's a low pass filter, and whenever we're allocating a vector, so in low pass filter, that's one of the earlier ones. Oh no. Okay. Data. Stack capacity overflow. Yeah. What is raw vector rs559? Let's look at that. So Rust raw vec. Yeah. I don't know. Just give me this. This is the source. Ooh baby. So 559. Okay, sure. Where? So it's used in 3 places. So allocate in. I don't think I'm using allocate in. Or no, these are not public functions. Handle reserve. Central function for reserve error handling. That's probably not what I want. What is this one? So it's an out of memory error, which is great. With capacity. Okay, so it's one of these with capacity functions. So where do I create a vector? Oh, it's this one with capacity. How do I know what the, or why is n? Why is n so large? Right, because the error that I encountered was capacity overflow. What's the max vector capacity in Rust? Rust, max vector size. Yeah, sure, why not? Panics if the new capacity exceeds I size max bytes. Sure. What's the maximum length of a vector? Help. Alright, so that's okay. Assuming you're on a 32-bit platform. Oh. So that's good. I think that's actually a really good thing that Rust crashed, because for some reason, I passed in a size that is larger than the total address space. The total allocated address space, which would have made my system crawl. That's good. So why does that happen? Is it, it's not right? Yeah. No. What? Is it not here? Ooh. This is the only place where I allocate a vector. It could be, no, it won't be here. It must be here. All right, debug, hit me with the debug. Debug n. There's something wrong here. Let's hit this with a recompile once again. This is the most annoying part about doing Godot to Rust, or Rust to Godot development, is that you need to, I don't really have a great script for this. I should write a script, but I'm not going to. Okay, but what is this size? So looking at this, it looks like, you know, the range is just the range divided by the sample rate, right? So even if this is like a few thousand, then we let n equal 3.1 divided by our range, then we round it. Eh? Like, huh? That doesn't make any sense. How is this out of, how is this size too big? What do you think you are? This is an F64, yeah? Ah, send me. What's your problem? And then we also crashed when we tried to shut down the thread, which is also fantastic. So panic, capacity overflow. Ooh, look at that. It's a negative number. What is this number? Negative, very large number. Why am I getting negative, very large number? That doesn't make sense. Unless the range is... Ooh? Hold on. What is the range? What is the range? Debug. Hit me with more debug. So what is the range here? And then give me this initial range as well. So we'll see range. So this value should change. That rhymed. But then what I'm curious about is why am I getting a very large negative number? So, it's good. Backtrace, stack trace. Not quite a stack trace actually, because it doesn't give me like the the entry points. I guess does this count as a stack trace? I'm not sure. Yeah, panicking. So range 0. Oh, range is 0. Oh. So we're dividing by that's infinity. That's infinity. All right. Well, good to know. Why is this 0 then? That makes sense as to why I'm getting a very large negative number is because it's a float. It's a float value. I presume it's probably negative, or it's probably negative infinity, just listed as a Rust constant, and then when I cast it to an I-64, that's when it breaks. So I think I need to that shouldn't happen though, right? So it's my range is 0. Why is my range 0? So we look at low pass filter range as F64. Target sample rate. What is my target sample rate? So that's a self value. Oh. Wait. No? So this does get initialized as 0, which makes sense. Then we go back up the tree. This is lip sync. Lip sync schedules the lip sync job. Update result. Update result. What does this do? Target. Oh, I never... Wait, no, schedule a job. Profile, target sample rate. Okay. Oh, does the profile not have... I see. Okay. I see what I did wrong here. Is because it's taking the target sample rate from profile. But profile is just using the default value for an integer, which is 0, which is why I'm passing it as 0. Then I'm getting negative infinity here in algorithm, because this is 0. Range 0 divided by sample rate. 0 divided by 0. Still 0. Right? 0 divided by 0 is still 0. But then here, we hit it with 3.1, so a float divided by 0 will equal infinity. And for some reason, it's negative infinity, I guess. Then we round it, then we cast float negative infinity to an integer. Now, because we're casting from a float to an integer, I think we're losing precision. And since, the cast will not fit, right? We're converting two values. That's why I then get a very large negative number instead of just the Rust constant negative infinity. Now he's thinking. So let's do this. So instead of deriving default, we'll just implement default. Maybe we won't even implement defaults. I like implementing defaults on a lot of things. Implement defaults for profile. All right, tell me, what is the thing I'm missing, sir? All right, to do. Nice. So this will return profile. Let's come up with some sensible defaults. So MFCC data count. I don't know. We'll just set it to the minimum, I guess. MFCC data count. I don't know. So in the Unity implementation, I have these noted down here. So MFCC data count, this is defined as 1 to 256 in the Unity implementation. Mel filter bank channels defined as 12 to 48. So we'll set everything to the minimums, right? Target sample rate. And I think these will have to be options that are exposed in the editor. Shouldn't be too bad to do, I think, but you know, who knows. And then sample counts. I think this will just be 0. Min volume, also 0. Max volume, 0. Don't I set these somewhere else, right? And then MFCCS. I believe MFCC stands for Mel Filter Credit Card. I don't know. It's something. MFCCS, which is some sort of excited vec. There we go. So that should help pass at least the initial stuff. When I create the new profile, do I... Okay, so I don't set a min or max volume. So that's a problem. So does the lip sync job ever use the profile? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So here, I mean, this output at the very least is based off of the profile, but I don't think that has anything to do with the execute statement here. So when we schedule the job, there's the, oh, it's the volume threshold. Oh, okay. So volume is less than or equal to the volume threshold. I wonder what the minimum volume I can get is. I don't really know. So let's look at ulipsync again. So this is the runtime. I think my implementation is good enough. Now we'll have to look at the editor stuff. So there's editor util. Probably don't need that. Profile editor, that looks interesting. Let me see, on. So this is draw. Don't really need to draw any of this stuff. Some serialized object stuff. How nice. Yeah. Hooray, Unity. Editor util. Get key. Don't need. Oh yeah, these are just utils, right? Looks like a lot of yeah, a lot of visualization stuff. Don't need that. So there's the blend shape editor and then the ulipsync editor. Mic input editor. I think I can handle that myself. Ulipsync editor. Min volume, max volume. What are these used for? This looks interesting. So, draw raw volume. So if volume is not negative infinity. Oh, this is just drawing, and I don't care about visualization. No need to visualize it. This is what I had open. Okay, these are the same thing. Right, ulipsync editor. This is ulipsync editor. Huh. Profile editor. Don't need that. There's the mic input editor. I don't think this is useful for me. Yeah. Ulipsync. Runtime. Core. Profile. What do we got? How did I come up with these? Where did? Oh, it's right here. Oh, and then these get initialized to -4 and -2. And they're in range -10 to 0? What? Ooh. In increments of log 10? Alright, well, let's do it. Let's add a note. Sample counts also needs to be... Yeah, let's add a note for everything. Why not? Because these appear to have default values already. Yeah, let's use the whatever default they're using. So that's 24. They use, or 32, 24. This is 16,000. Sample counts or sample rate. Ooh. Target sample rate. No, yes, sample count 512. This is -4. -2. So like, let's define as, this is sample count. Yeah, I don't know. There is no definition for this. But number of audio samples, etc. It's defined as -10 to 10. The Unity implementation, and then this is defined as -10 to 10, the Unity impl. Range from, well, configurable in increments of log 10. Nice. Yeah, seems pretty good. And then we just initialize this as a new list of MFCC data. Yeah, I think that should be okay. So let's give this a build. Very nice. Go to release, grab the DLL, go back here, slap the DLL into there. I think that's the problem. Yeah, that feels like the correct. Nope, not at all. Okay, well, shows what I know. Let's see, where else are we panicking? Ooh. Unable to join job in thread. That's good because it's poisoned. Panicked at source slice length does not match destination slice length. At slice mod rs. Because I'm running this all in a thread, it's also like really slow. It's tough. So at lip sync update, so we're slicing something in lip sync updates. So where is update? Update. Call it here. Oh, come on. All right, well, copy from slice. Copy from slice. One of these things is copying from a slice, but where? Who is it? Actually, this is on the main thread, right? Or no? It could be. I don't know. Which one of these slices is of size 12? That's the question. Yeah, let's dispose of buffers, but we're not copying anything here. Copy from slice. Oh, you know what? MFCC for other? Are you not the correct size? So this is update results. Very good. Update result. So this is probably on like the second invocation. MFCC for other. So inside of the new function, MFCC for other. That's okay. That's okay. Copy from slice. The length of source must be the same as. Oh, okay. I see. So this must be the same size as this. That's why it's breaking. I thought that's how that worked, but okay. So this actually needs to be MFCC for other. Oh, MFCC for other. Just equal to, you know, MFCC clone. Just give me whatever this is. Or actually, no, we can resize. Wait a minute. No, hold on. What is MFCC for others? So when do we set the size of it? Clear. Removing all values. Wait. I'm thinking. Oh. Okay, so I just need to clear it and then resize it once again. Okay. I got you. So resize 12, and then just fill it with zeros, right? So then that should fix that error. We're coming along. Grab this DLL, go back here, slap this in there. This, that, and there. Very descriptive. Oh, heck yeah, look at that. No more errors, baby. It doesn't do anything though because it's not actually hooked up to it. Okay. Also, we're frozen. All right, so we crashed. That's good. What happened? Why did we crash? Okay, that's weird. That's weird. So I'm able to run it, and then I can hear my computer start to spin up. My computer fans spin up whenever I run this. So this is probably running like as fast as possible, which makes sense. But why is the thread hanging? Why am I not able to dispose of this correctly? So in the Godot stuff, right? Exit tree, lip sync shut down. Why is that? I think all the values should be okay, maybe. Let me see. Let me see if I can print out anything here. So this is an exported function, so I don't need to make any changes. We'll just call updates, and then we'll read the results whenever. Or we'll just read the result as fast as possible, why not? So we'll hit it with a print, lip sync. And then this should give me something. This should give me a dictionary, so that should be okay. So let's see if we crash. Ooh, baby. Look at that. He's done it. So distance, no value. Index, 0. Phoneme, no value. Raw value, not a number. Volume is also not a number. Okay. Okay. But we are getting data back out of the Rust thing. It's just not giving me anything that I can use, which isn't great. Isn't great. So when do I set self results? Oh, am I never setting this? Am I an idiot? So updates results. No, yeah, there we go. There's the one usage of it right there. And then these values don't give me anything useful. That makes sense. So the index, or the distance is the result distance, and then from lip sync job, this will have a lip sync job result, which has a distance on it, set to a default value. Weird how it didn't give me 0. Instead, it just gave me no value. Why is that? So there's distance, self result distance. So that should have at least given me 0. Should have at least given me 0. Also, wait a minute, hold on. What is this? Wait. What is self result? Result is a lip sync info, and then lip sync info is constructed from the wait. So this is the job. This is the job result. Result distance. Okay. Wait. Yes. Ooh. This is the volume. This result volume is the raw volume. Phoneme, we didn't get anything from. Index got 0, which makes sense. I feel like index is always going to be 0. I'm not sure. Distance is the distance from the lip sync job results. which is defined here. Now I'm pretty sure, yeah, like this is what I should have gotten, is like -1 as the index, but for some reason that didn't happen. And then the distance should have been like a very large number. Because our volume is less than our volume threshold, I think. Because we're just not getting any input, I think. Maybe. I'm actually not sure. See, this is where it starts to get complicated again, because now I don't have any code I can base this off of. Now I need to, this is the Godot to Rust part. So when our index is 0, index is 0. Okay, index is 0, which means that we didn't hit this part. That's good. So where else do I use index? Index. Start index. Nope, that's just copying the ring buffer. If our mouse spectrum length is 0, does that mean we actually got to the end of it? That's wild. That's wild. Yeah, that means that we actually got to the very, very last part. I think. So shared resource. Yeah, alright. So give me a cargo build. Oh, is this wrong? Is not implemented for... Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Resource index, like that'll just consume the value type, so that should be okay. I don't really feel like implementing debug, although it won't be too hard, right? Because we can just derive debug on this. Derive debug, and that should be okay. Then here we can just send it. Shared res. Should be fine, probably. Give it another compile. Yeah, it doesn't do anything, but that's good. We will then go into here, copy the DLL, back to you, replace the file, give it a run. Then we crash? Not really crash. Oh, geez. Okay. So our distance is the max value? How are we hitting max value on the distance? So, dun dun dun. Distance. Wait a minute. This is our MFCC. Then we lock it. Shared MFCC. Sure. This is MFCC for other. When do I use the MFCC? What is this used for? So get phoneme. Where is get phoneme? That's usually pretty useful. Get vowel. Where is get vowel? Yeah, get vowel. All right, so we pass in this, and then this will call calculate total dist. Oh, okay. Interesting. So get vowel calculates our distance for us. I don't really understand what that does, but I'll accept it. Now, Looking back at our debug values, our volume is not a number. That's good. Where do we calculate volume? Volume, volume, volume. So this is our volume, and then we just kind of manipulate this for the entire time. So at some points, volume turns into not a number. I wonder what volume is. Yeah, you know what? We almost never change volume. So this must be RMS volume. I think I need to do a... Oh, because there's no input. There's no inputs. If array length is equal to 0, then just return 0. Instead of returning average divided by 0. Yeah, that's probably what we want. That doesn't make a difference in this case. We're still getting a very, very large number for distance here. So, why is this? Distance, distance, distance. Self phonemes. Did I ever define a phoneme? Ooh. Phoneme, phoneme. Phonemes. So this is an empty vector. I never set phonemes on the lip sync job. So where do you set it? Where is this set? So let's go to, this is the editor stuff, we don't care. Runtime. Lip sync job. Where does phonemes get set? Phonemes get set from here. Oh, did I not update this? So this is phonemes. So this gets set in several places, like allocate buffers, dispose buffers, allocate buffers. Phonemes. Resize. It's 12 times self profile MFCCS length, and then just fill it with a bunch of zeros. That doesn't really make a huge difference, but you know, so it goes. Is there a reason why they have this like implemented separately? Okay, so they want to allocate buffers on enable, but that doesn't really make a huge difference in my case. Okay. Right, because it's Rust, so these things get dropped anyways. Okay. I might separate these back out into their, I guess, individual components. But we'll see. Right, because it looks like we always dispose first and then we should actually resize. Yeah. So instead of having to, well, and then the problem here is that we need to lock the mutex every single time. So it's kind of a waste to, you know, do this. That still doesn't really solve our like really large number problem. We're just solving things that are adjacent to it. The more I look at it, the more problems I see. So this is a problem, for sure. For sure, for sure. For I in shared MFCC, phonemes, this is phonemes. And then, what do we do with the phonemes? When did we set the phonemes? We set it at some point, but I don't remember where. So phonemes, is this done when we schedule the job? Don't need this part anymore. We also need to go back and like stop unwrapping stuff. Instead, we should actually handle the error if there is an error. Very important to do. Phoneme. So update results. Phoneme is profile get phoneme. All right, but when do we set this on the job? So this is update phonemes. Yeah. Okay. Phonemes. When is this used? So this is update buffers. Update phonemes, yeah. Oh, lip sync job. So whenever we schedule the job, yeah, okay. It's just our own phonemes cloned into the job. So, oh, this is another thing where I should. So these both need to be behind an arc mutex. That doesn't really matter right now, but we'll get to it. Right, is complete, and then pub should stop. So it should stop. Cool. I think this should solve the problem of the job just running infinitely. We do need to check for this. How do I stop a thread from inside the thread? Rust stop thread from inside thread. How to terminate or suspend a Rust thread from another thread? How can I cause a panic on the thread to immediately end the main thread? It's pretty much what I want. So what they're doing is they're spawning a thread, print line, blah blah, and then their second thread, they just panic. In the above, if I join on thread 1 and then on thread 2, I will be waiting for 1 before ever receiving a panic from either thread. See revision history for the previous version. We can achieve. Good point. In the main thread, in Go, the main thread doesn't get unwound. The program just crashes, but the original panic is reported. This is in fact the behavior I want, although ideally resources will get cleaned up properly everywhere. This you can achieve with the recently stable standard panic set hook function. With it, you can set a hook which prints the panic info and then exits the whole process, something like this. Take hook, returns the default hook in case when a custom one is not set. Okay. Shut up, Google. Just heard my Google device. Google Home, which is always listening. Turns out I don't care that much about privacy. Take hook. What does this do? I want to kill the thread from inside the thread. How to kill a thread from inside the thread. How does Rust handle killing threads? There's no way to kill a thread? Okay. How to check if a thread is finished in Rust? Yeah. When I spawn a thread in Rust, I get a join handle, which is good for joining, a blocking operation, not much else. How can I check if a child thread has exited from the parent thread? Bonus points if you know how to kill a child thread. There's no API in the standard library to check if a child thread has exited without blocking. A portable workaround would be to use channels. Threads in Rust are implemented using native OS threads. Even though the operating system might provide a way to kill a thread, it's a bad idea to do so because the resources that the thread allocates will not be cleaned up until the process ends. It's possible, friends, to use ref counters, which Rust will drop on end or panic. So while working, oh, I can do that, right? Yeah, I think I can do that. Yeah. So instead of just like infinitely looping, yeah, because there's no way to. Yeah, okay, so I don't even need to implement should stop here, right? That should be fine, but then I can implement this, which is just like should stop. Then we'll want to move it as well. And we're sharing it, so it needs to be behind an atomic reference cache. Should stop. So this is some sort of arc mutex. That doesn't seem right. Control. Ooh? What is this? What is an atomic reference count downgrade? I actually don't know what that is. Poisoning. Arc. Downgrade. Do you have this? Downgrade, 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 downgrade. What is this? So weak is a version of atomic reference count that holds a non-owning reference to the managed allocation. Allocation? We're learning. Oh baby. As an option arc of some type. Since a weak reference does not count towards ownership, it will not prevent the value stored in the allocation from being dropped. And weak itself makes no guarantees about the value still being present. Thus, it may return none when upgraded. However, note, however, the weak reference does prevent the allocation itself from being deallocated. Okay. Well, that's not really what I want. What does downgrade do? Okay, arc weak. Feature arc weak. So what does this do? Creates a new weak pointer to this allocation. Neat. Okay. Okay. Is this even what I want though? So I think we're doing a lot of spinning, which doesn't seem correct. You know what? I think this makes more sense for me to place this on the lip sync job. So undo here. It should stop. Right? Then here, since we already have access to the job, right? We've already locked it. So if job should stop, which is just a Boolean, then we'll just return. And then hopefully this should kill the loop. And then here in Shutdown, we'll have to do a few things. So first we need to grab a mutex, or we'll need to grab this thing here, right? So we grab the thread job, or we just grab the job, right? So that'll be the job. Bum bum bum. Shutdown. Let job equal self. What was it called? Job? Yeah, job. So we lock the job, and then we do bum bum bum. Job should stop is equal to true. And then we just wait. I think that should be okay. Cannot borrow job is mutable. Alright. Congratulations, you're now mutable. There we go. So let's give this a try. So grab that. Drop this into the folder, and then let's see where it takes us. Alright, so we're printing a bunch of stuff. Index is -1. That looks a lot more correct. We start to spin. I can hear my computer fans go into overdrive. Probably not a good thing. Yeah. So we just continue to spin, which is unfortunate. So we are dropping the job here. Or I guess, how do you exit out of a loop? Rust, exit out of infinite loop. Rust, exit, loop. Sure. Break. Oh, break, not return, break. Is that what I want? Loop expressions. Now, tell me more about infinite loops. So infinite loops, yeah. Predicate loops, no. Loop expression without an, oh, it's, you need to, okay, so even if you return, that's weird. Return is basically a break, in my opinion, but maybe that's not the case. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe I'm the crazy one. Would not be the first time. Alright, let's give you another try. So, we should be able to exit you. Nope. That's something I do need to fix, 100%, is the fact that I'm not able to exit this program. Like, we just continue to spin, which is not good. It's not good. Job should stop. That's tough. That's tough. I'm thinking. I think I know why. I think I know why we get stuck in the infinite loop, at the very least. So... is because here, in Shutdown, we never release the handle. So we have a handle to both things, which is unfortunate. So I think I need to, I need to create a new function called just like stop thread, like stop thread, right? It takes a mutable reference to itself. And there's a reference to a Godot reference, right? So we'll move all of this stuff here. I guess that's okay, right? Then this is exported to Godot. Boom. So let's compile that. We'll grab this DLL, copy it into the appropriate folder, but now in Godot, we need to change this. So on exit tree, we want to call lip sync, what is it called? Stop thread. Is that correct? Stop thread, that's what I called it? Okay. And the reason why I'm doing that is to separate out the kind of calling contexts between these two. So once this goes out of scope, we relock the mutex, or we unlock the mutex, so then the thread can then run and then job stop should be true. Yeah. And then, yeah, so we lock the mutex, set this variable to true, and then it gets dropped as soon as we go out of scope, right? And then we start waiting for, you know, this to do its thing. So join handle, take. Yeah, because this is an optional, and then we join it. Try to join the thread. Yeah. Okay. Turning into an old man for whatever reason. So yeah, and then here inside of the thread, we lock the mutex. We read this value. If it is indeed should stop, then we'll break out of the loop. Yeah. Yeah. And these aren't shadowing, so that should be fine. I think that's okay. Give me another build. Did I not change anything? Or did I? Oh, I didn't even run it. Okay. Oh, geez. Hold on. That took forever. Did something happen? Oh, that's good. Who? Am I still alive? Ooh. File, face tracker, pi. Ooh? What happened? Flash? OS error, invalid. Failed to execute script face tracker? That should never have, Oh, did I just like click on something improperly? Well, anyways, there we go. He's done it. We did leak some objects afterwards, which is unfortunate. I wonder what we leaked though. And see, this looks a lot more correct as well. So we have index is -1, which means that I believe it's not actually reading my microphone input, which is unfortunate, but also makes a lot of sense. I wonder what things are causing this to not clean up correctly. Okay, so we're still leaking objects afterwards. So what did I change? What did I change? It's not me this time, but we are just leaking objects. Don't you hate it when you leak objects? What is it? I could just restart Godot and see what we're leaking, but I'm pretty sure it's not the Rust stuff. Although I wonder if what have I changed on this branch for Godot at the very least. So this is Stream Stuff Runner, we don't care about that. We want to look at OpenZ, face, GD, git status. What have we changed? So Alicia, VRM, that makes sense. Add-ons, yeah, that's alright. Git diff. What has changed? So lip sync. There's no way to manually free lip sync, so I'm pretty sure it's not that. And I've already tried to do that as well. Well, we could always try, right? Like lip sync free. But you can't, I believe you're not allowed to free a reference like that. Yeah. Attempted to free a reference. Yeah, you're not allowed to do that. It should free itself when it goes out of scope. I suppose what I could do is like manually dereference it. Dereference. Is that what it's called? All right, you're gonna let me do it. Neat. or unreference, I suppose. Let me see. Yeah, I don't think that's my problem, but unreference, and then we can free it, I suppose. Non-existent function unreference. What is it called? Unreference. Did I just spell it wrong? Unreference. I think I just spelled it wrong. Unference. Yep, that would do it. Attempted to free a reference. Okay, very cool. What does unreference give me then? It just gives me a bool. That doesn't help though. That means that we are definitely leaking objects afterwards. That's fine. Cannot free a reference, yeah? At least it closes. I don't know what's happening here. Let's give this a try. So boom boom. I wasn't running into this error before, so there must be something else that's leaking. Yeah, okay. Don't know. We'll figure that out later. But I believe the current master branch shouldn't be leaking anything. So at the very least, it's not the new code that's leaking, which is good. I think now I need to be able to visualize whatever I am, whatchamacallit? I need to be able to visualize whatever I am saying. So there's the audio. It's muted. You know what? What if I just unmute it? All right. Hello, hello, hello. Are we listening? Is anything happening? Well, I'm sometimes getting a value. I can see it. I can see it. Okay. I can see it sometimes. Sometimes we get zeros. It works, kinda. So most of the time our distance is not a number. However, sometimes our index is set to 0. Interesting. Which means that we're hitting something. That's cool. It works, I think. It works. We'll say it works. You know what? That's pretty close. Let's push this code so I don't like forget. And then like in case of a random hard drive crash, it doesn't like it cause me to lose all my work. That would be soul crushing. Fix spin on program close. Fix more errors. Yeah, look at that. So now we're actually listening for input, which is cool. So how does this look? Let me see. So VSS, real-time lip sync. Yeah, it looks pretty good. It's beautiful. If anybody is interested, the code is just kind of here. If you want to take a look at it. I don't even know who's here anymore. Always, I'm just a crazy person. Yeah. I think from here, it's just like the editor util. So I need to build this into Godot somehow. So let's create a new branch on this thing. So git status, git restore assets, VRM models. Don't know why that always happens. So like something like changes in the model, or nothing changes in the model, but I think like what Windows is doing is it's like clobbering the file endings. And so those changes to the binary kind of just stack up and up, which is unfortunate. So git check out new branch, call it a feature, real-time lip sync. So what's the diff? Git diff. So we add this stuff at the very start. Probably don't want to do that just yet, but we can just push it. It doesn't matter. So we'll commit. So this is initial work on real-time lip syncing. Creates audio bus, initialize lip sync DLL on program start. Add Rust binary. Yeah, there we go. There's the branch. Should just work if you're working on Windows. We need to cross-compile to other things, but shouldn't be too bad on this. I don't know. How does cross-compilation work on Windows? So Rust cross compile to Linux. Compile Windows to Linux. Yeah. Cross compile from Linux to Windows or when it. I mean, it doesn't matter, right? It's all the same stuff. Linux to Windows and then Windows to Linux is pretty much the same stuff. Unless this is requiring me to. Okay, so this is like min GW. Okay, so from Linux to Windows is you need min GW. Oh, okay. I just need to install the toolchain and then that should just work. Okay. Oh no. Here's the Rust up book. Cross compilation. What do you got? Install a toolchain. Yeah. Alright, well, yeah, that makes sense. Cool. I'm not going to do cross-compilation for Linux just yet, but it shouldn't be too hard, right? All you would need to do is pull the lip sync library that I've written and then just kind of push it into, into your own project. Compile it on whatever system you are on, and then it should work, right? Should just work. So let's see, how did the U lip sync people do the editor stuff? Okay. So U lip sync, so they have the lip sync stuff there. Draw property, don't want to do any of this. Draw profile. Is there a way to edit the profile as well, or no? Draw raw volume, RMS volume. Don't care about too much of this. So where do these get initialized from? Or the, oh man, that is so weird. This is so weird. Okay. So I'm assuming that oh, wait, hold on, target? That must be like a Unity thing, right? Target? And then you just configure it from the editor. I hate visual. Please don't make your configuration like this. Just go one way or the other, don't mix the two. That makes it really hard for me to figure out what you're trying to edit. It makes it really hard to port at the very least. Okay. So here we can have like an update value function. So that's something I 100% need to do. Let me see. There's a lot of things I need to do. A lot to clean up. So here, let's do this. Don't unwrap, handle poisoning instead. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I think it'll be like unwrap or else. Is that what we want? And then we just run some sort of function. And then probably just panic from there, right? Probably just panic. Or if we ever panic, right? Yeah, I think this is the most important part. Or there's a lot of important parts, right? So get rid of this for first part. Boom. Don't need that. This one. Probably don't need that. That's all right. I actually don't know if we need this to be a read-write lock or just like an arc data or whatever. We'll figure that out though. Here, we want to do a few signals, right, that we'll want to subscribe to. I believe we can just add another add signal. I think that's how this works. So name is a something, right? Is this not how this works? Ooh. Alright, how does Godot Rust? Godot Rust signals, yeah. So what do you got? What do you got? What do you got? Examples, signals, source, librs. Oh, these just need to be in like separate things. Okay, so builder. This isn't like a chain builder. Add signal. Signal. So this is just a, I don't know, lip sync panicked. How do you spell panicked? There we go. Args. No args. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Or builder, sorry. Builder. So add signal, lip sync panicked. So there's lip sync updated and lip sync panicked. So we'll want to listen to both of those. Should be pretty easy to do. Let me see. Here, inside of the new function, when we're running the thread, I think this is okay, right? Let's grab this, comment it out, and then instead of just unwrapping it, we'll match. Oh, it's me, Lux Engine. Who is this? Oh, okay. A tentative release date for Lux. Very interesting. Hope I can see what's going on with that. Anyways, match. So what does lock give you? This gives you a lock result. What am I looking for, by the way? How do you handle a lock result? So mutex lock. Let's see. Rust mutex lock. Rust. Oh, nope. Rust mutex lock. So give me the deets. How do I handle this? to recover from a... Okay, so it's just... Okay, so this... Okay. Yeah, so this would just be some sort of job. I'll slap all of this into here. Boom. Welcome to the team. What's your problem? Okay. So where we're at. Where are we at? What? Expected struct mutex guard found enum. Ooh. Isn't this what they were doing here? Oh, this is the expect. Hold on. Boom, boom. Yeah, there we go. Cannot be. It's a mutable job. Yeah, okay. And then here we can do, I guess this will need to be owner, right? Owner. Emit signal. How does emit signal work? I've used this once, but not too often. So it's on data maybe not data received. Which one is it? It's an invoke call. Okay, emit signal and invoke callback. Yeah. So emit signal, whatever the signal name is, and then something. So it's whatever the signal name is. Lip sync panicked. And then just empty, right? So what's your problem? Spawn. Const cannot be shared between threads safely. Note. Okay. So it's a pointer. Okay. Let's think. I don't know, man. ToString. What's your problem? Const. I don't know. ToOwned. There's a lot of things we can try here. So, pointer const. Within prelude reference, the trait is not implemented for const thingy. Required because it appears within the type lip sync 49 and then 77. 77. Oh, to this point. Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure it's because of this error here. So if I take out this, that should be okay. Okay. I guess I can do let's panic signal equal lip sync panicked. So that's a string. So let's do ToString. Right. And then we'll just move panic signal into here. It doesn't really matter. No. We're not sharing it though. I'm not sharing it. It doesn't matter. Can I just duplicate it? No. Can't duplicate it. Or I guess it's not called duplicate, it's called can't clone it either. Constant. Which one is it? 51? No. 79, no. So emit signal is on Godot Rust. So Rust thread. What was the error? Const cannot be shared between threads safely. Ha ha ha. Sender cannot be shared, but it can be sent. I feel like I don't want to use... I feel like I don't need to use an MPSC. I don't need to use a channel for this, right? Like it doesn't make a whole amount of difference in this case. Yeah. I think that's probably fine. Although, what does this do? So mutex, to recover from a poisoned mutex. Could be pattern mash on to return the underlying guard on both branches. Huh. This is not how this works. So we can't just clone this? No. Like this is a string, yeah. Can I not just clone this, which will give me a string? No. So Rust thread string, safe string, sharing string between threads. Correct solution to your first problem. Spawn thread can run forever, yeah. In your case they don't because you block the calling thread waiting for results from the channel. Compiler doesn't know that, therefore thread spawn requires the pass closure to be static, which means it doesn't reference anything that lives shorter than the whole program. But in your case, the closure has a reference to the URL, a reference to a primitive string. So use an arc and wrap the... Okay, so we can do that. We can do that. Because your function does not have... Well, I mean, there's a lot of things we can do, right? So what is your problem? So we can borrow it, maybe. I don't know, actually. Probably not gonna fly, yeah. I don't know. Let's just use the same pattern I've been using for this entire program. So, this is our string. Look at it go. So this will be, well, I don't know, we'll just how do I do this? You can lock it like that, right? Unwrap. Yeah, I mean, that's it, right? And that's a mutex guard, and then into inner, inter inner, into inner. Right, this should give you a thing. Mutex guard into inner. Yeah, should be that. Method not found in mutex guard. Into inner. Did I do this wrong? So panic signal. That's an arc mutex new. I don't know. 2 string. Shouldn't make too much of a difference. What do you think? Current scope. Does this not exist? Panic signal. Yeah. Then we lock it, which gives us a lock result mutex guard. Then we unwrap it. No method called into inner on mutex guard. Huh. Am I crazy? It's possible. What do you got, mutex guard? You've got... nothing. Although you should have some just traits implemented on you already. Maybe not. Yeah, so you deref... Dereferences the value. Drop? I don't know, man. Deref? Probably not. What's gonna do it for me? Current scope. Created by lock and tri-lock methods on the mutex. And I'm not even using this error value, right? Like, I don't care what the error value is. Shouldn't this give me a string then? I'm assuming that this doesn't, oh, this might give me something. I don't know. Spawn. God, every time. Every time. So let's grab this and we'll just move it like that, right? Like we're not. I want to access it. That's tough. Clone the string to move the resulting string into the closure. Useless clones should be avoided, but it could be tolerable in your situation as the HTTP request will take longer than cloning a rather small URL. Yeah. It's not working though. I feel like that should be okay, but it's not working though. Right? Like this doesn't need to be shared. Like I know what it's going to be. Nope. So this doesn't make a difference. We should clone it though. I'm missing something. Panic signal. Clone. Well, just give me like a regular clone. Yeah, but then const cannot be shared between threads safely, but that's okay, right? I don't know, maybe you're just lying to me. I think that's probably unlikely, but we'll see. Yeah, there's the error. That's tough. So what we can do here is we can listen for this at the very least. So like we'll have like a should stop or something, and then we can just put another check. Yeah, that's tough. Const cannot be shared between threads safely. I'm missing something. String cannot be shared between threads safely. Arc mutex. from string. How are they doing this? Oh, so I actually need to clone it? Is that really it? That's crazy, dude. Thread signal is panic signal clone. Like that should be okay, right? And then we'll go thread signal dot. How did I do it? Lock, unwrap. All right, yeah, and then then we can get the. I think we can just hit it with a format. Yeah. Format. One of these, and I guess this could also panic. No, am I crazy? Mutex from, let's call it from this thing. Yeah, I mean, that should be the same thing. I guess we can clone a reference to it. Like, it doesn't matter to me, right? So this is arc clone from a reference to panic signal. It's the same stuff, yeah. It's the same thing as just cloning the entire mutex. Like, it's the same thing, right? Sync is not implemented, yeah, sure. Like, this looks like what I want. But I'm not able to spawn it. Right? First of all, const. Should probably define all of the signals here. So this is lip sync updated, which is, what is it called? Hold on. We can do this. This one's easy. Let TMP equal whatever, teased and string. So this needs to be, is that not how you do it? Lip sync updated? Lip sync updated. See, this is one of the things I always forget how to do. So your problem, missing type. It's a reference to a string. And then it might not live long enough, but we all knew that. You really want to live forever though. Panicked. Panicked. Okay, cool. So lip sync panicked to string. That should be okay. I don't know why I'm not able to move it into the loop though. It's very disappointing. Although these all should just get dropped. Yeah, so that's fine. Boom. You still have an error there, but we'll get around to it. So lip sync updated to string. What's your problem? reference to a string. Very good. And this is lip sync panicked. Oh, okay, so we don't even need to two-string it. It already does the conversion for me. So threads, share strings between threads. I feel like I'm missing something here. Struct with string passed into thread. Let's see, what does Reddit have about this? 4 years ago. If you clone the vector before moving it into the closure. I had to clone it, right? Yeah. Yeah. That should be fine. Am I crazy? It's a bit tough. Let me see. Does this need to be mutable? I don't think this needs to be mutable. You copied a reference to this. Read only references so you can move them into multiple closures. Yep. Let me see. Mutable. I am copying though, right? This is copying it, so we spawn it. And then it should be fine, but we're not. Thread signal. Yeah. I'm dying. Or is it because of this thing here? So emit signal. What does Godot Rust say about emit signal? Signal. Common code questions. So what do you think about this? It's a bit tough. Clone into the signal. Ref cell large. Why are they all using unsafe? Additional arguments, no. Subproperties, no. Okay, so that's not what I want. Rust game dev 2020 should be pretty recent. Alright, that's tough. Yeah, like this is just a string. I should be able to move it into it. That's, I don't know, I'm still a bit confused as to why this doesn't work. Right. Boom, boom, boom. I guess we can format it like that, but lip sync panicked. Not able to move it into here because it's still a constant. And then we also can't just clone it like that either. Yeah. So I suppose we can just lip sync panicked. Oh. Can't do that? I thought I did this already, but maybe I didn't. Okay, well, what we can do is check to see if the thread is poisoned somewhere else. Yeah, so we just won't do anything, I suppose. Or here, like this one is pretty easy. So we can emit a signal pretty much right away, right? So return a none, but then we can also do this one. And I suppose I should actually return some sort of value. So args, this would be some sort of signal argument. Signal argument, let's see, name, doesn't really matter. Error message, oh, we'll just call it message, right? Message, default, variant from string, I guess, and then we'll just pass in like that, empty string. Export info, new variant type string, Godot string, yeah, usage, property usage, yeah, I'll just call it default, I don't know. Who knows? This one is pretty easy, right? Because then we can just hit it with E, then E. Well, probably hit it with like a format, excited formats. Pass in one of these, then E. What's your problem? Yeah, there we go. Huh? Wait a minute. Does it work now? What the heck? I didn't do anything though. Was it like a different error that was causing me to fail? Oh my god, I hate this. There was a separate error somewhere else. That's fantastic, dude. Should be fine. And then we can also pass in lip sync panicked. Should be okay. Yeah, there we go. That looks good. Yeah, it's beautiful. Now we're handling everything properly. Wow. It only took forever. Invalid error, I suppose. Let's see, what else is there that we need to do? We have the signals working. We can hook up to those. Here. Don't unwrap. Yeah, I guess we'll just start to go down all of the unwrap holes, if you will. So this will be the O job, I suppose. O job will equal. Hold on. Nope. Bring me back. So the first one here. This one's pretty easy to replace completely, right? Nope. So match job. Let's see. Match job dot lock. Right. So then there's OK. If not J, or this is self job. Self job block. This will be job. If not job, JOB is complete. Then we'll just return immediately. Otherwise, I think we'll just want to emit this signal like we did before. So, where was it? Where are you? So just try to bubble up as best you can, basically. Yeah, I think that should be okay. Yeah. So let's compile. Ah. Okay. Expected struct, prelude variant, found struct string. So we can do, I don't know. There's like Godot string from string from. I think that should be okay. Is that all right? Probably not. Mismatched types. Found struct or expected struct variant. Found struct GD native prelude Godot string. I don't know. Can I do like a variant from? Okay, I can do a from string like that. Interesting. Is this okay? It looks okay, I guess. Weird how this doesn't accept a Godot string, but it's all right. Replace these two things for now. There's your format. Looks all right. No. Not like this. I thought it was okay, but it turns out it wasn't. Const cannot be shared. Const cannot be shared between threads safely. Yeah. Like, I get it. Doesn't make a difference. See, that's the tough part. Sometimes you'll have errors that bubble up over other errors. So you think you fix things. So then you go ahead and start trying to do more stuff. But let me see. Rust. Spawn thread string. Let me see. Sharing a string between threads. Why can't I move a static string into multiple threads? Yeah, I mean, that looks good. Is it something else I'm doing here? So if I take out this, I take out this, then that's fine. And then if I do, I don't know, just a print line, right? Lip sync panicked. Formats argument must be a string literal. Oh, that's okay. Is it because I'm trying to I'm trying to what am I trying to do here? That's interesting. So this is okay. So it has something to do with emit signal. Oh, it's probably the array, isn't it? Okay, that makes more sense. So let's... Oh, but that doesn't allow me to actually emit the signal in like a good way, right? Let's think. Let's think. Let's think. So we can have like something called thread error, which will be like an arc of a mutex, which will be some sort of string, right? Join handle. Yeah, okay, so this is in new. That's all right. So then we'll do let thread error equal just a new arc data, new mutex, new from just some empty string. Right, and then let's call this error, I guess. Then this will be thread error to keep the same naming convention, right? So here we can do this. So error is equal to error. Easy enough. But then this thing will be, well, we'll need to have a few options, right? So it has thread error, some sort of boolean. We'll initialize this as false, and this will be how we kind of message across. So this will be an arc mutex bool. Everything is now arc mutexes. Very nice. Let has error. Let has error equal arc new mutex new just some sort of boolean false. Let thread has error equal has error clone. Yeah, okay. So here, this is how we'll be able to pass things along to each other. So has error is has error. Yeah. Here, instead of just print lining, we will, I guess we'll just lock the mutex again. And then we'll just have to panic at some point. Yeah, like there's no way around it. At some point we will have to panic, but thread error. Or thread has error. Yeah, I think for this would make more sense to use like a channel, right? Okay, let's look up how to do a channel. Rust channel. Rust channels. So it's Rust by example, pretty easy. I think this doesn't make sense, but we'll just have to listen for it. Let's take that out. Take this out. I think we just want to store the receiver in this case. So this is MPSC. Look at that. And then this is how we'll do all of our error handling. And you know what? I'll be right back. I refill my drink. Alright, I'm back. Turns out when you have your desk, or when you switch your living room and your office, going to the kitchen is really, really quick. I kind of live like I'm in a studio for whatever reason. I prefer it that way, I guess. We'll get rid of this. Let's so let's sender receiver equal MPSC channel. Oh, and then I need to type annotation is superfluous. It's okay. Let's see. I think this one, I guess we'll just send over the error message, I guess, right? IDs. Like I need to check the message at some point. I'm just not sure when to do it. So we can do sender send. Like hit it with a format, one of these. Error, right? That's pretty much it. That's what you would expect, I think. And then let's just, I don't know, unwrap it. Who knows? Send it. And then the receiver, standard string. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Oh, and it gets moved, doesn't it? Ah. Okay. Clone. Just clone everything, or is this not? Borrow of moved value. All right, hold on. Thread sender. Okay. So we'll let thread sender equal sender.clone, because there's only ever going to be one thread. I think we can guarantee that. So this will be the thread sender. And then this can just be the regular sender, right? Like it doesn't matter. But I guess there's no one actually using the receiver at this specific point in time. This will be just the error receiver, which is some sort of channel. So MPSC receiver string MPSC receiver of type string. Yeah, okay. So hit it with one of those. Slap this into the last part of here. Yeah, there's your receiver. And I think just in somewhere, hold on, native class. Oh, come on. Cannot be shared between threads safely. Sync is not implemented for. You're killing me. You're killing me. Arc data. How do you feel about this? Ah. Come on. That's tough. I guess we can just drop the error and then just yeah, I got almost nothing, man. That's all right. That's all right. Or we take this out, what happens? Okay. Like there's no way for me to, there's nowhere for me to put this without implementing the unsafe traits, which I'm trying to stop myself from doing. Never want to use any unsafe traits if possible. Let's see. I think this is okay now. We can take out this part. I'm pretty sure my original idea is probably what I'm going to use. So like has error. So this will be an arc mutex bool. Then this one is error message, also an arc mutex. But this will be a string. It's beautiful. It's horrible. It's everything that you hate in a piece of code. So, let's see, let has error equal arc new mutex new. So false, and then let thread has error equal arc. Well, it'll just be has error clone, right? Has error. And then similarly, we'll do error message equal to string, and then similarly error message or thread error message, because we need the share. Everyone needs to play nice. Clone these, and then we'll just pass all the thread stuff to here. So I think here we can kind of make an assumption. Or I wonder, yeah, actually we can just check to see if there is, if we're not able to access the job, then we can assume that it's just poison, right? Because the mutex should, yeah, we don't need the has error thing. We only need to store the error message. And if we're not able to unwrap the error message, then we'll just panic. If something has gone terribly, terribly wrong. Third error message is equal to format. Error, or this thing, E. Give that a taste. Tell me how it feels. So thread error message. Or actually, I can't do that. It just needs to be error message is equal to format. Oh, and I also need to unlock it. Don't forget to do that. Yeah, so here, error message is equal to error message. Yeah. Then these will start throwing errors whenever I start compiling at the very least. Yeah, because expected struct arc. So this will be, like on, this will be lock, unwrap into inner. Don't suppose that's how you can do. And then you can't just set these equal to each other. Cannot assign to this expression. Contains the OK value, consuming the self. Yeah. Doesn't really help me here. What do you got? Clone from? Do you think that'll work? That might work. Clone from? From a copy assignment from source. Should probably be fine. I don't know. Just kind of winging it at this point. Oh, and then this needs to be an arc as well. I forgot. Or this is an arc as well. So. Expected string found struct string. Or expected a reference to a string. Okay, so. Just give me whatever a reference to this string is. That's fine. That's probably okay. So these are arc datas, but that's because I need to share the error message. And because of how Godot Rust works, I cannot safely sync threads together, which makes things very difficult. So here, you know what? I suppose that's okay actually. Like I don't need to actually handle the error. Now that I'm thinking about it, shouldn't the error just bubble up? So this in theory should be good enough, right? Because this should bubble up the error from the interior thread. Yeah, you know what? I've just spent a lot of time just spinning my wheels. I think that's actually okay. So we just won't do anything here, right? Like this is one of the few places where doing nothing is probably the optimal thing to do. So say goodbye. Goodbye. Yeah. Then this can be changed back to you. If we don't use the error at all, we'll just bubble up. Yeah, I suppose we will need to register something at some point. Let's see, we'll do self job lock and then whatever. This is the variant. Yeah, okay. Cool. This one is basically the same thing, right? So let mutable job equal match self job lock. So if it's okay, then the interior job should be job should stop equals true. Otherwise, in case of error, hit you with one of these. Should be okay. Alright, what's your problem? Match arms have incompatible types. Well, I guess at this point then, right? Isn't it just one of these? So this is a mutable job. Should be equal to true. What's your problem still? Match arms have incompatible types. Okay. Give that a save. Like now, yeah, now we don't actually need to assign. We're not assigning anything. No. What's your problem? Expected nothing, found struct. Hey. Does emit signal return something? Like I don't need whatever you're I don't need whatever you're selling me, man. Okay, that's good. So I guess owner emits signal. What does the Godot Rust doc say about that? What does emit signal do? Where's the doc's RS? So I believe let's just look at a reference. What do you got? Emit signal, emit signal, emit signal. Has signal. I think I saw something like that. Emit signal. Oh, yeah, it returns a variant. Okay, yeah, okay. So we just discard it basically. What's your problem? Cannot find attribute export in this scope. So we've run into a few problems, I think. Cannot find attribute export in this scope. So there's a lot of issues. Is it you? Hey. What is it? Is it this? What? Yeah. Okay. Ah, what a pain. So that should be okay. Let's compile just to make sure. Okay, we're still good. You're scaring me, dude. So join handle. Let's see. Is there a way for me to just shut down or just like completely return from this thing? I don't know. If we're unable to shut down, it could be a bit of an issue. Could be a bit of an issue. Here, handle poisoning instead. Here's something else that we want to handle properly. Let's just grab all this code. Very useful, very useful. Alright, this is one of the few places where we need to use this kind of weird syntax. So let O job, an optional job, equal self job block. So if it's okay, then we'll just have some sort of J, return J. Otherwise, if there's an error, or this should be some J. Otherwise, if there's some sort of error, we should do this. And then also return none. Yeah, I think that's okay. What's your problem? Yeah. I think that makes sense. No? Or match, sorry. Okay. So update results. Okay, that's a bit tough now. Update result. So we'll need owner, a reference to the owner, which means this function signature is now slightly incorrect. Pass the owner into there so we can bubble up an error. You know what? I suppose that's okay. Like, we don't need to emit it here. You know, it's really just like one of these. And then if. Well, thinking. Let's undo me. Put this back. And let job. Actually, can't I just return from the function entirely? Return? Yeah, like we don't want to continue on, so it doesn't matter. Then let job equal ojob take. Yeah, so we can take this out. That'll be okay. Shouldn't that have been... Oh, take and then unwrap, right? What's your problem? Cannot be... Alright, so that should be okay, I think. Right? So if we ever get an error, we'll just yeet everything. Say goodbye. Here, we need to do something a bit fancy. So there's your job. Schedule job, we'll also just pass in the owner again. So we can bubble up errors appropriately. Let mutable job equal ojob. Take, unwrap. Actually, is that correct? Wait a minute. This is some mutex guard. Then this is an this is an option of a mutex job. I suppose I can just unwrap this, right? Wouldn't that work? No. Wait a minute. So this is an option which contains a mutex guard, but why do I need to unwrap? Or is that not how this works? Can't I just unwrap this then? Oh, I guess I can just unwrap it. I don't need to take. Yeah, okay, cool. What is your problem, owner? Okay, so schedule a job. We don't need this previous one, because now we're handling it. There we go. Anything else that's using just a raw unwrap? This is not actually used. Audio filter, probably not used. All right, I think that's all right. There are a few things that are still a bit sketchy, like dispose buffer. This one as well, update results. So we just kind of need to lock the results and then hope it works. So anything having to do with the MFCC and the results are still a bit weird, but that's all right. On the Godot side, we can just connect to several signals on lip sync. So it would look something like lip sync, connect, I guess lip sync, panicked, self on, lip sync, panicked, panicked. Right. Then here, just do on, lip sync, panicked. We would have some sort of string message because we convert it properly, hopefully. So let's hit it with what did I call it? Isn't it here? Oh, this is in main screen. Okay, so we'll hit it with an app manager, logger, error. Yeah, message. Yeah, there we go. And then we'll just call all of the requisite stuff here, right? So I think that should be fine. Let's give it another build just in case. Yeah. Grab the DLL. Slap it into here. Yeah, looks all right. And it is listening to my voice and probably a little bit of enunciation, but I don't really know how all that works. But I do see that the input is changing occasionally. So sometimes we'll get a distance, we'll get a real distance, and then like a non-negative index as well. So neat. And also now we are actually handling the bubbled up errors as well. So these are all unimplemented. We can take these out, I think. That should be fine. We're not using them. Already verified not to be using them. Data received. I don't remember what I'm using this for, but it feels like this should be... It feels like this should be exported. We're gonna export it. I think that's fine to export it. Audio filter read. Should be okay. MFCC, also probably fine. There's a lot of things that are probably fine, but I'm not really sure if they're actually fine. Okay, from variance is not implemented for. Oh, that's good. All right. Well, what do I got? Like this feels like I should be able to pass data into this. So variance array. Oh no, what kind of arrays do I have access to in Godot? Godot Rust. So oh, okay, so there's like a byte array. I'm assuming then I have like an F60 float 32 array. Okay, well, that should be fine, I think. Let's try that. Float 32 array. Float 32 array. Are you gonna let me build this time or no? Wow. From variant is not implemented for typed. Wait, what? Where? It? I've changed this. Ooh. What? What is this? Give me another build. I'm a little confused. A trait bound typed array from variant is not satisfied. So if I get rid of this, then we're able to build correctly. Now here is when we start running into errors. Okay, following implementations were found. From variant? I guess I can just take a variance array. That should probably be fine. And then this causes more errors down somewhere. Okay, just down here. And so this will be floats, I guess. So this will be probably just like some sort of vector of F32s will equal input into shared. Like, how much is regular into, Doug? I'm assuming that doesn't work. No clone. Okay. Well, let's leave this for later. I don't really know what I want to do with this. We'll figure it out later, but we should be able to build whatever we have right now, and notice that things are indeed changing, so we can probably assume that the lip syncing is kind of working at the very least. Always kind of hard to say since I don't know too much about audio stuff. But so I don't know if I blah 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 blah. I'm trying to talk and see if I can get the index to change a little bit. Yeah, it seems like it's changing very, very slightly. Yeah. There's our index 00. So I know that something is happening. What exactly is happening, I'm not sure. But it seems pretty close. What happened here? Oh, did this not actually build correctly? Oh, it didn't actually build. All right, that's fantastic. Typed array. Supposed to have to be an F32. What did I have here before? Or is that okay? Let's give that one more try. I guess I didn't actually copy over anything last time. So give that another try. Then we can talk into this. Look at that. We have some sort of values, so we'll call that a success. So what's the diff? We started handling errors better, so handle errors better. Pretty sure, yeah. I felt like I typed my my password incorrectly. And this one as well. We did a thing, I'm not sure what it is, but let's git commit all, fix up. Yeah. Just give that a push. We have, it has been sent, as is tradition. Yeah, so there's the real-time lip syncing stuff. So that kind of works. It needs a bit of tweaking and needs like an actual UI. But I mean, there you go. He's done it, I guess. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. I will be live tomorrow from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern time. Probably working on this again because we are starting to get pretty close, I think. Yeah. Do the channel follow you haven't already. There's some links. Discord. There's the GitHub. Everything that you can see on screen is pretty much free and open source. Anyways, I gotta bounce. Goodbye.